Hi there. Today we will continue doing a brief review of some of our previous lessons, okay? So we will see, we will do some questions and answers very briefly, right? So I will ask you something, how do we say such thing in Spanish? I will give you some time and then I will write it down, okay? This way I will be forcing you, right, a little bit to think and to try to structure the sentences in Spanish and try to remember the words that we have been learning. So our title again, as in the last lesson, is Repaso de verbos, gramática y vocabulario. Review of verbs, grammar and vocabulary, right? So, remember how we say clothes in Spanish, right? The word for clothes is ropa. Yes? It's a singular word that refers to clothes in general, okay? So now let's imagine that we want to go shopping, right? We want to buy some clothes. So how do we say, I want to buy clothes? I want to buy clothes. The verb to want in Spanish is the verb querer, okay? Querer. Querer. Right? To buy is comprar. This is the verb to buy. Comprar. So, how do we say, I want to buy clothes? Quiero comprar ropa. Quiero comprar ropa, right? And we omit the subject pronoun, right, in Spanish. We usually do omit it, mainly when we speak in present tense, okay? So, mainly even when we speak of me, myself, because when we speak of third person, right, he, sometimes we may add a subject because we want to add more information about the subject. For example, the name, right? What's the name of the person, right? Instead of saying he, we want to say John or Jenny, right? When we are talking of I, in Spanish we usually omit the yo, okay? But if you add it, it's okay. Yo quiero comprar ropa, right? So why don't we add an article here, right? Same as in English, because we are not specifying clothes, some specific clothes that we want to buy, right? We are just saying we want to buy clothes in general, right? An abstract idea of clothes. So we need no article here, okay? If we want to say, instead of I want to buy clothes, I need to buy clothes, we would use the verb necesitar, which means to need. Necesitar. Right? It is a regular verb of the first group. Remember the PowerPoint video lessons, right? How do we conjugate this in the first person? We would say necesito comprar ropa. I need to buy clothes. And if we want to say, I have to buy clothes. I have to buy clothes. Remember the verb to have in Spanish is the verb tener. Okay? Tener. Okay? To have is tener. And how do we say to have to? Tener que. Okay? So how would we say? Remember, tener is an irregular verb, right? And mainly for the first person of the present tense. How do we say, I have to buy clothes? We would say, tengo que comprar ropa. Tengo que comprar ropa. And if we want to say another way of I should buy clothes. I should buy clothes, or I should buy some clothes. Okay? How would we say that? The verb in Spanish for should is deber. Okay? Deber means to should. Okay? We would say debo, it's a regular verb. Debo comprar ropa. Right? Debo comprar ropa is I should buy clothes. However, the verb deber is a bit different to the verb should, because although they mean the same thing, deber means should, right? It's not so strong as must, right? It has the same meaning as must, but not so strong. It is like should. However, should is the preterite conjugation of the verb shall, right? Which is a modal verb. However, deber, it's a normal verb, okay? So it can be conjugated into all the 22 different tenses that we have in Spanish, right? Like any other verb. So imagine we go to the shop and we ask, how much is this? Or how much does this cost? We would say, excuse me, how much does this cost? Remember something. Since Spanish is a formal language, when we address somebody that we do not know, mainly when we are shopping or when we are doing business, we treat the other person with the respectful you, right? The correct thing in Spanish is not to treat the other one as tú, right? Which is the informal you. We treat the other person as usted, the formal you. And remember that usted conjugates like he and she, right? So we would say, disculpe, disculpe, right? Disculpe is, excuse me, right? But disculpe is conjugated for usted, disculpe usted. ¿Cuánto cuesta esto? ¿Cuánto cuesta esto? So, remember, cuánto means how much. Cuesta is the conjugation of the verb costar, which means to cost. Right? It is an irregular verb, that's why the root of the verb has changed, and it has changed, the O changed to an O there. Quest instead of cost. Right? It is irregular in the present tense here. And cuesta is conjugated for the it, right? For the person it. We are talking about the clothes. Third person of the singular. Esto means this, right? If we want to say how much do these cost, we are talking about the plural. How much do these cost, right? We would say, ¿cuánto cuestan? Because remember that the verbs in Spanish also change to plural and singular, right? So, cuestan, because here, this is a verbal conjugation for the plural, and this is in the singular. It's this is they, and this is for he, she, it, right? So, when the objects we are asking for are plural, we change to the conjugation of they, right? And instead of esto, that means this, we would say these, right? Estos or estas. So, why estos or estas? If what we are asking is masculine, it's these masculine, estos. If it is feminine, it is estas. For example, if we want to ask how much do these shoes cost,